So excited for this panel today. Like Ryan said, my name is Sarah Nicole, and I am your host. I am actually based here in Dallas, so hopefully we got some Dallas people in the house tonight. I'm super excited. I am a business and finance content creator, as well as the co-founder of The Daily Pivot. And today, you guys, I don't know if you guys understand the powerhouses that we have on today's panel. So we can go ahead and go through and introduce you all. Sophia, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Sophia Castro. I am a multifamily investor, also an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, and I am so excited to be invited into this panel to be able to give you guys all the value you want to know.
Hey guys, my name is Travis Wells. I'm a multifamily investor, also single family, affordable housing, mobile homes, and I'm stoked to be here with y'all and share what I know. So thanks for having me.
All right, I'm Dan Costantino from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Steelers fan for life. And I'm a multifamily investor and a hard money lender, and happy to be here.
Hey guys, good morning. My name is Kaiser. I run a business. I'm CEO of Blue Hammer Roofing, and super excited to be here and help add some value. Thank you guys.
What's up, everybody? My name is Donovan Ruffin, local here in Dallas, real estate entrepreneur. We've done like 2,500 deals, so I'm here to help you guys.
Oh yeah.
I love how everyone's super modest up here. We have some powerhouses. I'm really excited for just the information, the value that everyone's getting ready to give. And obviously, you all are here because you invested in yourself. And it's actually ironic because just 2 years ago, I invested in my very first Apex event, and now I'm here, you know? And so investing in yourself is so important. And so my first question is actually for Kaiser. So it's known that 100% of your investing goes back into your own business. Why is that?
You know, when I hear the word investing, I think two things. I think time and I think money. So especially in the beginning, I think the one thing that everyone really has to understand is in the beginning, for everyone, you must exchange your time for money. And once you've earned that money, you put yourself in a position where you can then exchange your money for time. And, you know, as you do that, you start realizing a couple of things. You realize, one, there is nothing out there that's going to pay better dividends than you investing in your business. Nothing. And you investing in yourself. Nothing. It doesn't matter who you count on. You got to bet on yourself, and you got to have the confidence to do that, because that's a 10x, that's a 100x, that's a 1,000x. It doesn't matter. And you know, I also wanted to debunk a myth where in order to become a millionaire, you got to have these 7 streams of income, and there's some validity to that, but the reality is this: you're only going to become hyper successful by dialing on one thing and becoming the industry expert on whatever that one thing is first. And then once you've become the industry expert, yeah, you can diversify and have 7 streams of income, 10 streams of income, it doesn't matter. But until you have that money to begin with, you got to be super careful with where you're allocating your time and your money, because that is your most valuable resource. And the final piece I have to say on this is, the more you understand that you as an individual are a business, things will change for you. And I always think of this rap lyric by Jay-Z, if you guys have heard it, right? He's like, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. And I want everyone to remember that. Thank you.
I love that. I always hear that, you know, you get the highest ROI when you do invest in yourself and invest in your own business and ventures. And Sophia, I know that you are known, you've had a $1 billion exit in business, which is amazing. Which I don't know if you guys heard me, $1 billion exit for her business. That's huge. And so what do you look for in a potential business deal?
So the number one thing that we look in is the jockey. Who is going to be the head of that business? Because it's so important who's going to be running that business. If you don't have a jockey that is all in, that has that mindset that they're going to get to that end goal, that business is not going to go anywhere. So if we invest alongside somebody, that's our number one look. That's what we look at. If we're not, and it's on us, we're all in. We know, like you said, if you invest in yourself, that's the best investment there is. But when you're investing in others, that jockey has to be at least aligned along your side, same goals. Another thing we look at is the product. Is that product is it going to do something? Is it needed? Is it scalable? Because if a business is not scalable, we're not investing in it.
So what is a scalable business?
For example, the finance company that we started back in, 20-something years ago. There's so many facets of that business that you're able to scale because finance is something that's always needed. No matter what market you're in, you're always needing finance. So we were able to scale our business in finance by different facets in it. So we started with equipment broker leasing. We moved up to then becoming a lender in equipment leasing, equipment. And then we became a private lender for medical industry. So it continues on and on and on. It's a scalable business. To this day, that business that we sold for $1 billion, it's worth $7 billion today.
Wow.
So we're out, we're not in the business, but that business is still growing, scaling. It's never going to stop. It's just amazing. So we look for businesses that have that kind of scalability.
I love that. That's really amazing insight. And as being able to invest in your business, and the people in your business seem to be really important as well. And I know that also some other investments. I'm sure we have a ton of real estate investors in here. Do we have anybody? Anybody in real estate? Awesome. Well, my next question is for Travis. So I know that you are buying low-end properties and cash flowing them. What's the game plan there? What are you doing with that?
So I really started with what I knew. I grew up around low-end properties, riding around my granddad, collecting rent, helping build these properties. So that's what I knew, that's where I started. I started making good money at my job and decided that was the cheapest entry point. And then I found out I was able to help those people solve problems, and big problems. A lot of them, they were upside down, and I was able to help them get out of that situation. So my model is I buy for $50,000, I put $20,000 in, and I rent for $1,400 a month. I don't stray away from that model unless I'm gonna do better than a 2% deal. All right, can y'all hear me? All right. I don't invest in real estate personally unless I can get a 2% deal. 2% meaning if I'm in a deal for $100,000, I get $2,000 a month. So I'm always searching for something that I can get 2% or greater. Low-end properties allow me to do that. And I'll repeat what I said earlier, sorry about that. I buy for $50,000, I put $20,000 in, and I rent for $1,400 a month. Recently, I've scaled to mobile home parks. I've bought 3, and I'm building one right now to where I'm able to get 3% per month. So that's why I'm in that business.
That's awesome. So how important is that cash flow for your real estate business?
It's really important for my business. I'm able to inject that cash flow into other deals. So I'm able to maximize my ROI, maximize my spend, and that's what I know how to do best.
Is there anything in particular that you look for that potential cash flow? I know you mentioned price point, but is there anything else that you might look for in a good deal?
So it's changed. Whenever I started, I was just looking for cheap property where people were needing help. They couldn't pay their bills, they were upside down. I'd market to those types of properties. I'd help them solve their problem. And essentially I get a good deal, make it a win-win, and now things have changed. I started scaling that with mobile homes, and I recently started a business to where I'm putting 4-plex mobile home units and renting them out as studios. So $80,000 for the mobile home 4-plex units, and I'm renting them for $2,800 a month. $700 a door for an $80,000 brand new asset. So that's what I'm looking for these days, those kinds of numbers.
Wow, it seems like, you mentioned solving problems, and that's one thing as entrepreneurs. I think that's really our main job. It looks different for everyone, but it's really solving problems, and that's what we are. We're problem solvers. And so my next question is actually for Donovan. With foreclosures up right now, it's the obvious problem that a lot of individuals and families are having in various markets. How has this affected the wholesale real estate market?
Well, as far as foreclosures go, I think that's kind of like a minimal problem to what's actually happening. What's actually happening is the economy took a shift. Like, there's just without a doubt about it, right? So probably say majority of the people that I know or, associate myself, even myself, had to adapt, right? So make less money in a certain transaction, things of that nature. But, and what comes with that, when people go through challenges, when they see finances different, right? They can't maintain the same lifestyle, have the same habits, buy the same things, take the same trips. People are just facing mental problems, right? Worldwide, not even just in foreclosures, right? And I think it's something that's, super important to kind of pay attention to, because how has it affected the wholesale market is you're starting to see all these problems happening live time in people's personal lives. Divorces, layoffs, bankruptcies. I mean, the list just goes on. So being able to connect with those people on a personal level, it takes a certain amount of heart and skill, and it's very challenging, especially when you got your own problems in your own life, right? The wholesale market it's crazy because there's a lot less competition now, just because people can adapt, people can face the changes. And so when there's foreclosures up and there's less competition, which means there's less people serving these people, helping them through these challenges, it's very interesting to see. So I guess how it's affected, the wholesale market is the market needs people to help them get through different areas of their lives, even outside of their house, right? So that's kind of what I saw specifically, especially with foreclosures in the wholesale market.
And I know that wholesaling has blown up over the last several years, especially due to social media and just people becoming aware. And as you mentioned, the competition is not as what it was. If there is someone who is looking to get into the wholesale market, is there anything that you would tell them with the way that the market looks right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great time. It's a great time to start anything that you're passionate about or that you feel that you would be good at. I think those two things are very different in a sense, because a lot of people get into any type of space and they're just terrible. Like, they just suck in just general. In the wholesale space, it's sales and marketing. People suck at marketing. People suck in sales. So if you suck at both of those, it's not a good opportunity to start, right? You'll just fucking end up getting your house foreclosed on. No, I'm just kidding. I would hope not, but most importantly, if you have some of those skill sets, the wholesale market is a great industry to be in within itself. But I mean, at the same time, it comes with its own set of challenges that you're going to have to learn and get through to really comprehend. But as far as getting started, it's a great time to start anything that you're passionate about.
I love that, and hopefully, no one here is struggling too bad with sales and marketing, especially being at an event like this. So my next question is going to be for Dan Costantino. Now, what is the short-term future of multifamily investing?
Well, on a macro level, you hear pricing, everything's going to crash, and I don't see it like that. It's a very decentralized market, to be honest. I mean, there's obviously the big guys that own thousands or tens of thousands of units. But realistically, the market is very fragmented and sectioned out. So there's opportunity for everyone. So we operate on the micro. So we look for individual deals, and there's always people out there. You mentioned some of the problems that people are facing, job loss. Like, there's always distress out there. So there's opportunities for people. And I want to speak to the audience, right? I can talk about the macro, and it really doesn't matter. Everyone can get into multifamily, because there's always distress out there. Just because someone owns a big apartment building or a fourplex or a duplex, there's still distress out there. There's bad operators. So I think short term, it's tougher to buy because of the debt market. So we're seeing interest rates come up, and with that, cap rates are coming up, which means it's harder to make things cash flow because the higher interest rates that are out there. So it's made it more difficult to buy with traditional financing. but you just got to get more creative. So you can assume loans, you can take properties subject to, like there's strategies out there. Everyone was a genius in real estate over the past 5 years, right? Now you have to know the game. So we operate out of Pittsburgh, and it always has been a very steady market, like a 3% appreciation. Now we've had great appreciation over the past 5 years, but a lot of markets, like the top 15 markets, you're getting double-digit appreciation all the time, right? We weren't used to that, but it made a lot of people look like geniuses. And now that it's these assets are less liquid, like they're in some tougher spots. So if you understand the finance approach, multifamily is a great place to be. And again, I want to speak to the audience, right? There's apartment buildings out there. That's the space we're playing in. But we all started with one house or one property, right? I love small multis. And there's a lot of ways for you guys to get invested in multifamily by doing what they call house hacking, buying a duplex, 3-unit or 4-unit. You can live in one unit and rent out the other spots. You can get really good financing. You can get FHA financing with low down payments. There's a ton of ways to do that. And again, there's a lot of landlords out there that are not good at operating. Everyone teaches you how to buy real estate. No one teaches you how to keep it. And that's what we do at Apex Investors. Me, Brandon Brittingham and myself. That is a huge component. Operations are huge, and that's the biggest, I think, success. Sophia, you could probably, operations is huge. You talk about picking the jockey. Absolutely. So I love the multifamily space. If you don't look at the macro, I think it's the best place to be, because you get diversification in your properties instead of having single family houses. If it's vacant, you have no income. That's why I love multifamily.
With multifamily investing, is that something that anyone can just jump into, or should they get their feet wet with maybe a single family?
I started with a single family. I think that's a great way to get started. But again, I love the diversification of having a 2, 3, or 4 unit or a 10 unit. It depends on what market you're in, but you'll never be at zero income with multifamily. I do think it's a great place to start. A lot of people think you have to graduate from a single family to a duplex to a 3-unit to a 4-unit. You can go straight into a 4-unit, get FHA financing for it, or it's a asset that a lot of banks will give you financing for. So as long as the numbers pencil out, I think it's a great asset to start with, as opposed to starting with single families. But everyone has to pick their focus.
Yeah, and then that starting point is so important, because often, especially when you're thinking about multifamily, it can be intimidating for some. You see the big, large apartment buildings, but knowing that you can start small and work your way up, And so that's why my next question is for you, Sophia. I know that you have a real estate portfolio of over $700 million. And I wanted to ask, when you are investing in property, what are some qualities that you look for?
So the number one quality that we look for is that when we underwrite this deal, then it has to cash flow, in place rent roll. It has to give us cash flow. We do not buy a deal when we underwrite it and it's not cash flowing for the owner that is selling it. We just don't even look at it. That pro forma, which is a future income, is pretending. You don't know what's going to happen once you buy that deal. The market could fall, the tenants could all walk out. There's so many what ifs on a pro forma. So if it doesn't cash flow, we just don't buy it. Immediate, first day, even if it's a 2%, 3%, it doesn't matter what the cash flow is at that point, but it needs to have some type of cash flow. The other one is that we do look at the market. We want to make sure that there's growth in the market, that the employers that are surrounding in the market, we like to look at a 5-mile radius, that they're not the same industry, because if something happens in that industry, everybody's working for that same industry, it falls. So then what do you have? Your tenants can afford the rent. We look for the schools that, A-rated schools. We look for good hospitals. The market has to have a trend of move-ins, people moving from different places wanting to move there. So those are different things that we look at. Now we have different criterias and they change. We started off with single family homes, and we soon found out that if they walk out on you, you don't have no rent coming in, right? So we then changed into duplexes, fourplex, 10s. We started off with C asset classes. Then we went up to B. Now we're doing A. So our criterias do change. We never stay stuck with the same criteria. But number one, if a property doesn't cash flow, it just doesn't work for us. So that's our main one.
Yeah, cash flow is king, is what they say.
Oh yeah, cash flow is queen.
Oh, absolutely.
Cash is king.
Absolutely.
Cash flow is queen.
Absolutely. And I know with Travis, I know you have, I believe, over 50 properties under your belt right now. And for the newbies out here who are looking to get into real estate investing, what are some things that you suggest for them to try?
Listen to what she just said. If it doesn't cash flow, don't buy it. Find a mentor right out the gate. I did not find a mentor right out the gate. It took me several years longer. And ever since I got into groups, found mentors, picked their brain, offered them value. I paid them, for their time. And if you can't pay them, offer some sort of value. Find a mentor and network. Network is one of the biggest things you can do. Meet local real estate agents that deal with investors, local title companies that deal with investors. The other thing is your personal brand. If no one knows that you buy real estate, you're not going to get any kind of deal flow. Get on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, social, non-social, your friends, family, everybody needs to have your name synonymous with that's a real estate investor. If they see a house, they pass by a house, they pass by an apartment, it's got overgrown grass, they think of your name. That's how you're going to get deals. If you don't know how to take down the deal, well, hey, you found a mentor, you're in groups, they're going to help you. You can get a partner.
I love that you mentioned a mentor, and that really goes back to, I believe, investing in yourself and understanding that, you may not know everything, but there's someone out there that can guide you in the right direction. And I really want to ask everyone on the panel, because everyone's here because they invested into themselves, because they're looking for guidance. Do you have a mentor? And if so, how has that impacted your success today?
Me first. I currently have a mentor, a really good one. I've had several in the past. They were really good. I've just evolved over time. The more you know, the more you grow, right? So you don't have to stick with the same mentor. I'm always looking for somebody that knows more than me, that knows more than the person that I'm getting taught by, getting in bigger rooms. I don't want to know the most in the room. I want to be the small guy. I want to walk in a room and just be overwhelmed with value, kind of like walking into this mastermind. These people on stage blow my mind. I want to be here. That's what I look for in a mentor.
I love that. Sophia, do you?
Yes, so we belong to a group that's called R360. All these individuals have to have $100 million net worth in order to be in this group. They're all mentors to us, Bobby and I. Bobby, for me, is also a big mentor. He's my husband, but he's amazing with his PMA, and together we have created so much. So we're each other's mentor, but we do have R360, all the network masterminds that we hang around with, Ryan, Amy, believe it or not, they're mentors to us as well, because as we help them, they help us see things that we're not also seeing in a different level. So we always love to hang around with mastermind groups that have individuals that have that mindset, that want to grow. And like Travis said, I never like to be the smartest person in the room. Always be that person that could learn from someone that has done it, has been there, and that could give you advice. It's the best place to be at. Always hang around with others that are doing bigger, better stuff than you, because you pick up so much from them.
Absolutely. And what about you, Dan? Do you have a mentor?
Absolutely. First off, I joined Apex like 3 years ago, and I wanted to be the dumbest person in the room. And at that time, there's only 30 people, and I was just amazed at what success was there. And but it's introduced me to so many people that become your mentor. Not like a full-time mentor. I will say, Sammy Knight, many of you know him. He's my Clarence from It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, he's my guardian angel. He's helped me through some really, really tough times, like losing sleep type times, you know? And mentors are so important. I've never approached someone. I know a lot of people have asked me, like, oh, you know, can you be my mentor? I've never gotten a mentor by asking someone to be my mentor. I would always say I think it has to happen really organically. And if you do need some help right away, I think you do need to join a group like an Apex or one of your other masterminds. I've met so many amazing people. It's been a really, it's so easy to get lost in your own problems. You really need that outside perspective, I think, to bounce it off, those ideas off people and help you grow whenever, and get you through those tough times. So it's important.
I love that. And what about you, Kaiser? I know you're big on investing back into yourself. So what does mentorship look like for you?
Yeah, I've been blessed to have many mentors in my life. One's actually in the audience today, so I appreciate you showing up. You know, here's a little bit of game for everyone that maybe doesn't have quite the resources today from a finance perspective. Maybe you don't have, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars to put in to invest in a mentor. If you can, beautiful, do it immediately. If you are unable to, and that's okay, I mentioned it earlier, investing is two things, it's time and money. So if you don't have the money, then you gotta be willing to give the time. And what I mean by that is you can't, a lot of these guys you want mentorship from, you can offer the cup of coffee or the lunch, but I'm just gonna be honest with you, they can buy their own coffee and lunch. And I'm sorry, it's just, it is what it is. However, what you can do is this, go work for them. Figure out a way where you can give them your time, and if you can add value into their life some way, shape, or form where you make their life just a tad bit easier, and in most cases they probably already got a personal assistant, so maybe that's not the option, go get a job. Go just try to get close to them. Just try to pick their brain every so often, but when you're working for them, you have direct access to them. And one of the fastest ways to identify who will get a good mentor for you is actually quite simple. You just figure out if they have the things that you want already. And I don't just mean that from a monetary perspective. I mean, you know, are they a good husband and you're trying to be a good husband? Are they really solid with their faith? Are they really solid with their finances? Whatever those things are, if they possess that, that could quite possibly be a really great mentor for you. So again, if you can purchase them, pay the money, pay the price, because essentially what you're doing is you're collapsing time. What would take you maybe 5 years to figure out, you may be able to figure out in 1. And we talked about exchanging time for money. And again, if you can't, go work for them. I promise you they'll hire you in some capacity.
I love that. I love that you mentioned other qualities outside of the monetary as well, because that plays a huge role, obviously, as you guys know, with success in your business. So Donovan, what about you? How important is mentorship?
Oh man, like everybody said, you know, it's always a blessing when you can be around people or somebody specifically that you can ask specific questions to and you know they have the right answers, right? There's no better feeling. Am I right or am I wrong? Right? So I think most importantly, I think there's a lot of pride and ego in entrepreneurship where people just think they're the best at everything and they're just fucking retarded because they're not. They actually suck at everything. But the way I see it is I like to segment it out, right? So it's obviously you have different traits in your life that you know, your relationship, spiritual, like I have a spiritual mentor specifically, business and whatever. And then you sectionate it again, right? And being involved in masterminds, right? So that way you can like collaborate and spot people that can essentially kind of be like a consultant, right? And that's like a real thing, right? I see mentors as like, okay, how can I bring somebody into my business and consult me on this area to help it improve? Because they've been there or they're the best at it, right? So that's the way I kind of see it. But yeah, I think mentorship is kind of like it's somebody that you can go to and ask questions and you don't have them. So it collapses time, makes things easier for you. And plus, you know, you have somebody to vent to, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and like you all have mentioned, you know, being able to almost erase that trial and error that you would typically maybe take 5 years, now it's only taking you 1 year. And so Kaiser, I wanted you to kind of touch on how investing in yourself has impacted and changed your life.
Night and day. Night and day. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. So when you start investing in yourself, essentially what you're doing is you now have others that are interested in investing in you. So the game changes from attraction to chasing and vice versa. When you're trying to always go get that next deal or go get that next thing, you're chasing. But when you really start dialing in on yourself, now you're starting to attract all the right people into your life. So for instance, this goes personally and professionally. If I start taking care of my fitness, my finances, my faith, and all the rest of it, I am now going to be able to attract this specific kind of partner that I'm interested in having. And now they are going to invest their time and or their money. And the same rules apply in business. If I am a brand ambassador in what I do and I'm handling my business and I provide excellent service and I'm like one of these monsters that's up on stage right next to me, I'm gonna attract all the right people that want to invest in me. Again, time and money. So yeah, investing in yourself is a game changer. And if I can give you guys a few tips on what to invest in, I'd like for you guys to be able to jot this down. We said one of the most important ones, which is having a mentor. That's a game changer in itself. I think investing into your mental, whether you want to call it mental health or you want to call it your mental capacity or whatever, because I'm a big believer that 80% is psychology and 20% is mechanics. And if you can't get this right, you won't get shit else right. Because you hear about all these people dealing with these struggles of I'm not motivated, I'm not this and all the rest of it. We all go through that. We all go through that, but a bunch of us have also dialed in up here where it's like, you know what? I don't give a shit how I feel right now. The job's got to get done. People are dependent on me. I got to go. But until this is right, nothing else gets done. The third thing is investing in whatever your skill set is. You guys have heard these guys talk about some amazing things that they do. They are financially and time-wise invested in whatever it is. Dial in on your skill set, get in the right room. You guys have already done that. You guys are here. Some of you guys paid some good money to come here, and good on you and much respect on you. And really the final two pieces, they go hand in hand, and it's one, how to manage money and how to leverage real estate, like what everyone else has been talking about. And I'm gonna tell you why. You hear about all these stories about these lottery winners, these athletes and celebrities, and they get all this bread, right? They get all this money, they become hyper rich, they be $100 million, $200 million, whatever. And does anyone know what that percentage is of the amount of them that file for bankruptcy 2 to 3 years after? Yeah, it's almost 80%. Imagine that. 4 out of 5 people go bankrupt after having millions and millions and millions of dollars. Because the problem is they never invested in how to, manage money. They never learned the real estate play that these guys are talking about. And they lose it all. And if you think money is going to solve the problems, I promise you it ain't. Understand the skill sets that it requires to manage money, and then you'll be in a much better place. So again, it's the difference between chasing and attracting.
So it seems like some of the most important investments that you can make is one, in yourself, and then two, it seems like to be real estate. It seems to have changed a lot of your all, lives. And I have a question for you, Dan. With things have changed recently with the rates are much higher with the banks. How has that affected hard money lending when you are doing projects?
Well, we actually borrow money and we also lend money. So we've originated over $20 million of loans to other investors. I've lent to Travis here, helped him get a deal done. Honestly, the higher bank rates have made hard money more affordable. Typically, hard money rates are somewhere in the range of, anywhere between 10 and 15% on the interest, and then there's origination points. It's closed the gap, to be honest. And you would think that perhaps hard money rates would elevate to the same degree that the regular bank rates have. I haven't seen that because, for us, when we originate loans, we pick the jockey again, to talk to that point. We have to pick good borrowers. They have options. So we want to keep our rates reasonable. The effective hard money rate is going to be somewhere between 15 and 20% whenever you look at all the fees added in there for the duration of those loans. So it really hasn't allowed us to push up rates too much to credit card rates, essentially. So it hasn't changed it to a large degree, but on the borrowing side, like people investing with us to operate that money, a lot of people have options now of money markets at 4 and 5% out there, and a lot of people don't do that. They have it sitting in checking accounts. They really need, if you guys have money sitting in checking accounts, please get it over to a money market soon, because you can get 4% and 5%. Now we pay our investors, high single digits, and they love that because they're scared of the volatility of the equities markets. So it's changed it a little bit, but we've found it to be, again, you look at all the macro, I like to stay focused on the micro. We've had good luck raising money, and we've had good luck lending it out to solid operators. So hasn't changed a terrible amount for us.
Well, that's really interesting to hear. And I know that recently sellers have had lower rates. And so Donovan, I have a question for you. With sellers with low rates, they tend to be a little bit less motivated to sell. How does that affect today's real estate market?
I don't agree so, because there's two folds, right? You have interest rates and then you have equity. There's two very big different things, right? And if you look at today's market, like the real estate market in single family in Dallas dropped like 25% year over year, right? So somebody bought a house at 0% interest rate at 100% a year ago, they're net negative 25%. With a 0% interest rate, right? So it's just like, I think that the term interest rate scares a lot of people from making decisions and getting into deals, because the reality of it is that it doesn't really matter. What really matters is getting into deals with equity or that cash flow, or specifically both, right? And if you can position yourself that way, interest rates don't really matter. And with sellers that have lower interest rates, they understand that, right? So it's like they want to capitalize on the deal based off whatever position they are in their life. It's like they're moving to Seattle, they're moving out of the country, or they're getting divorced. So interest rates, you don't marry an interest rate, you marry the price of the property that you pay, right? So you got to be real careful with some certain terminologies in the game, because if you have to separate them completely, just because they're two very big different things. Like, for example, we just did a deal. We were paying 15% interest rate because these people got into this bad deal. We helped them out or whatever. We were paying 15% interest rates. And somebody, came in with like a 3% interest rate, right? And we made like $120,000, right? So we went from like a 15 to a 2. So it's not that people don't want to sell at low interest rates, is people, have different problems in their life, and that's where it really matters, right? So it doesn't make it more challenging at all.
So it just goes back to being problem solvers, whether you're investing in real estate or investing back into your business. That's what we're here to do. And I really appreciate all the insight that you all gave. Up here, we have over $1 billion worth of real estate, which is huge. And to just be able to, that's amazing. And to be able to hear the insight from you all has been great. I'm taking some mental notes for sure for myself. So I know you guys are taking notes.
I think it's the fine lady over there, right? You're the richest one in the room. I'm not that rich. I don't know where that B came from.
He said you're the richest one in the room.
That's why it's cash flow queen.
You got a B? She said she had 700, so I'm like, God damn. Or 700 M's.
Yeah. So just to be in the room right now is amazing. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you all for being here. I hope that you guys got value out of this panel. And let's go out and crush the rest of the day.
Thank you, guys.